Hey guys, welcome back and let's talk Acts 1. So, Acts was written by Luke. It's the second part to his two-book series, Luke and Acts. And both of those were written to his friend Theophilus. Scholars don't really know who Theophilus is. He could have been a fellow scholar of Luke's, an early church official, or just a new convert that had a lot of questions that Luke sought out to answer. And we know Luke wrote both of these books because they're very, very old manuscripts, like original manuscripts, of both of them together as one piece of writing. And so traditionally, both secular and religious scholars have said that Luke wrote both of these books. So in Acts, once again, the disciples ask Jesus if he's going to restore the physical kingdom of Israel, to which he once again says it's not their business to know. And this happens in verse 6. It says, "So when they had come together, they asked him, 'Lord, at this time, are you restoring the kingdom to Israel?' He said to them, 'It is not for you to know times or periods that the Father has set by his own authority, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, and all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth.'" He does concede that they will be empowered to spread his word. So even though it's not their business to know when God's kingdom is going to be reestablished on the earth, he does let them know that that's not it for them. Like he is going to provide a way for them to continue his mission of reaching others, teaching others, and just bringing others to the Father. And so while it's not important enough for them to know when the kingdom is going to be reestablished, they are told that they are going to be carrying out this work themselves. And this is before the ascension, because right after this he ascends up to the heaven and they're all watching him. And after this they go back to the upper room in Jerusalem, which is where Christ told them to stay. And it's at this point that they chose Matthias to be the new member of the 12 to replace Judas, because, as you know, Judas killed himself. And he was chosen via lots. Some people have an issue with casting lots or whatnot, but the passage is very explicit that they were setting this up for God to make the choice. It would have been inappropriate for the disciples to choose a new member of the 12 with their own human reasoning. And so what they're doing here is, they're casting lots, which, take it as you will. Whether or not that is what they should have done, they did it anyways. And basically, they opened it up to what some people consider chance, but to what then would be the will of the Lord. And so in doing so, that is how Matthias was chosen to be the new member of the 12, Judas' replacement. Because, Jesus chose. I heard this question once, like, why didn't they just leave it empty? Like, why replace someone to be a member of the 12? Why not just keep it as the 11 or whatever? And so one, Jesus chose 12 people specifically. So they probably thought it would be appropriate to keep that going. And secondly, the reason most people think Jesus chose 12 people specifically is that they were representing the 12 tribes of Israel. And so in choosing 12 people, Jesus was saying, hey, I am the leader, I am the guide, I am the teacher of the 12 tribes, and I am bringing them back in unity, because at this point, you had the Jewish diaspora. And so the kingdom of Israel had split after Solomon's death into the kingdom of Israel and kingdom of Judah. And it was 10 tribes in Israel and 2 tribes in Judah, and the 10 tribes were wiped out. They were conquered first by the Assyrians, they were spread out, and they were just decimated ethnically. And so what Jesus is doing here is bringing back the 12 tribes into a single banner, a single representative body of followers of God's teachings. And so that's why it was important to replace Judas with a new member of the 12 to keep that 12 like the numerical significance of 12 people representing 12 tribes going. So yeah, so that's the beginning of Acts. Acts is a big book. There's a lot in it. A lot happens in this book. So I'm really excited to get into it. But Acts chapter 1 is a pretty just, as far as events go, it's a pretty laid back, intro to what is going to be a busy, crazy book. So yeah, that's what I kind of want to leave you guys with for Acts 1. Soon in the future, we will discuss Acts 2. I have to go through and take notes on it and really dive deep into it because it's a long chapter and there's a lot in it, both like what happens and also spiritual significance of the chapter. So I'm excited to get into Acts 2. But yeah, so I'm going to leave you guys with this, and I will see you next time.